After Ethan's cherished ideal love returned to the country, my status shifted from official girlfriend to mistress, yet I refrained from emotional outbursts and instead devised a significant plan in secret. Our subsequent encounter escalated into a dramatic confrontation, where he, with reddened eyes, lunged at me like a frenzied dog, pleading, "Rain, please don't leave me." Despite his frantic efforts to clasp me tightly, as if attempting to meld me into his being, I remained steadfast, mentally counting down 3 seconds until my departure. Within the private room, an individual teased Ethan, stating, "Ethan, after years of waiting, Samantha has finally returned from abroad. It's widely acknowledged that you two are a match made in heaven. When do you plan to propose to her?" A trace of tenderness softened Ethan's otherwise proud demeanor as he replied, 3 days from now is Samantha's birthday. I intend to propose to her then, delivering a grand surprise. Please join me to offer your support." His companions erupted in successive cheers, though one, eager to stir controversy, inquired, "And what of Rain, Ethan? How do you plan to address her?" Positioned at the doorway, I suppressed tears threatening to spill, steadied my emotions, slowed my breathing, yet could not prevent a surge of hope from rising within me. Ethan's hand trembled slightly as he lifted his wine glass, remarking, "Samantha's delicate constitution cannot endure excessive exertion in bed. Rain only wants money, doesn't she? Let her bear it then." Someone asked, "Ethan, how does it feel to be with this former heiress?" To which he sneered, curious. "Wait until I tire of her, and you can have your turn." In that moment, I felt as though I had plunged into an icy abyss, trembling uncontrollably, stumbling away as the voices in the room faded, replaced by a barrage of insults directed at me. I became aware of Samantha's return when, upon receiving a call that day, he hastily abandoned me suffering from an acute gastroenteritis attack to rush to the airport, leaving me to endure convulsive pain, take a taxi to the hospital alone, and remain on N4 drip until midnight. Upon accessing Facebook, I encountered a photograph of him embracing Samantha, accompanied by the caption, "No matter how many years pass, whenever I turn back, you'll always be there." From that night onward, his absences became frequent, summoned away by a mere phone call or text message, a clear demonstration of Samantha asserting her dominance over me. 2 hours prior, Ethan's assistant, Dong, informed me he couldn't retrieve Ethan from a business engagement and requested my assistance. As usual, I complied without hesitation, rising from my warm bed to hurry over, only to overhear his candid revelations, leaving me to collapse against a corner, head bowed, tears flowing freely. My phone vibrated, and Ethan's mildly irritated voice came through, asking, "Have you arrived? Where's the car parked?" Suppressing a hoarse sob, I took a deep breath and replied, "Building B, parking lot." I ended the call before Ethan could, prompting him to frown at his phone, bid farewell to his superficial companions with a wave, and drive us back in near silence. Nursing a headache, Ethan asked, "What's wrong? Upset that I drank with them?" "I've already told you." I cut him off with a sharp no, weary of his repetitive justifications. My no stung persistently, but I concealed my distress, unwilling to hysterically demand what we were to each other now, especially since he was set to propose to Samantha yet offered no explanation, treating me as little more than a bed slave, dismissible with money. I was once the eldest daughter of Haichung's wealthiest Chi family, but their bankruptcy cast me from prominence to obscurity overnight. My mother instilled in me the values of self-respect and self-love, and though I am no longer the exalted Miss Chi, my dignity and pride refused to be so trampled. I had believed the man who rescued me at my lowest ebb after my family's ruin, vowing to protect me, genuinely cared for me as an individual, only to discover this was his true perception of me. Ethan let out a drunken burp, leaning against the window. The moment its stench dispersed, I felt utterly repulsed, my heart chilled to its core. Upon returning home, I tossed the keys aside and instructed, "Grace, prepare hangover soup for Ethan, I'm exhausted and going to bed." Without sparing Ethan a glance, I ascended the stairs, leaving him stunned, his frustration mounting as he retorted, "Isn't it normal for men to socialize? You're the only one who gets upset." Instead of my own room, I chose the guest room, locking the door behind me, staring at it until 3 a.m., when an irrepressible laugh finally escaped me. What was I still hoping for? I touched the bead bracelet on my wrist and declared, "Hello, I am the daughter of host number 10011. I request to exit this world." On the day the Chi family went bankrupt, my mother vanished, with many speculating she left to avoid a life of hardship with my father. Yet I knew the truth. It was my father's affair and illegitimate child that drove her, unable to endure the betrayal, to leave me this bracelet and depart this world. My mother had said, "Rain, should the one you love betray you in the future, come find me, the system will bring you to my side." The system granted me 3 days to bid farewell to this world, and that night, I wept until dawn. At 5 a.m., a call from the prison informed me of Philip's death. In that instant, my heart, numbed by pain, felt nothing regarding his passing. On the first day of my departure countdown, I buried the last relative I had in this world, calmly signing the necessary documents. Philip had aged considerably, unseen for 2 years. His once calm face was etched with deep lines, his hair white, appearing far older than his 50-odd years suggested, more akin to a man of 70. Before the freezer, I offered my final words to him. "The son you hoped would continue your lineage didn't come, regrettably. It's I who sees you off, fulfilling the bond between father and daughter." "Philip, do you harbor regrets?" I mused aloud. "Regret betraying my mother, paving the way for others, nearly reducing your daughter to a toy among the wealthy?" Tilting my head back, I withheld the tears, deeming him unworthy of a single drop. After Philip's cremation, I interred him in a nearby cemetery. As heavy rain poured from the sky, I stood before his tombstone, sheltered by a black umbrella. I, too, am preparing to leave. This parting ensures we shall never meet again, and I will continue living with my mother. "What do you mean by living together?" Ethan, appearing behind me unnoticed, bowed to Philip before placing a caring arm around my shoulder. "Why didn't you tell me about such a significant event?" The warmth of his presence briefly disoriented me. "I assumed you didn't wish to see him," given that Philip had previously employed underhanded tactics in business, causing Ethan substantial losses. "He's gone now, and besides, he was your father. I had to be here with you. Is there anything else I can assist with?" I shook my head, replying, "No, you've done more than enough. I won't ask for more." Observing my detached gaze, Ethan felt a wave of panic. Had Rain uncovered something? Before Philip's imprisonment, his mistress and favored son had conspired to saddle me with his debts. Cornered by creditors with no escape, it was Ethan who intervened to resolve the situation, likely leading him to assume my motives were financial. When I next met his gaze, warmth had drained from my eyes. "I'll take you back first." His phone rang at that moment, and from the corner of my eye, I glimpsed Samantha's name. Holding my black umbrella, I offered a polite, distant smile. "Attend to your matters, I'd like to walk alone." Amid the torrential rain, Ethan's luxury car sped past without pause, splashing water in its wake. A single word from Samantha, even an emoji, was enough to compel him to rush to her side unhesitatingly. Once again, I was abandoned, with no familial ties left in this world. It seemed Ethan was the sole individual remaining for me to bid farewell. At that moment, my phone rang. Grace informed me of a large package delivered to me, bearing only an address with no sender. Upon opening it, I found a substantial stack of documents and a USB drive. Reviewing the contents of the documents and USB drive took nearly 2 hours, revealing a singular truth from the sender. Ethan was the mastermind behind the Chi family's collapse, in collusion with Philip's mistress, Yvonne. Ethan had orchestrated the relentless pursuit by debt collectors, ensnaring me in his trap to cast himself as my savior, every step a calculated maneuver. An invisible force gripped my heart with suffocating pain, driving me to stumble into the bathroom to retch, collapsing helplessly onto the floor. Why? Why treat me this way? What have I done wrong? I shouted into the empty room. I wasn't the one who drove Samantha away. Is that why you resent me? Yet only the unfamiliar, contorted reflection in the mirror answered back. A beep signaled a message from Ethan, "I'll be busy these next 2 days and won't return." I forced a wry smile, my throat hoarse, muttering, "Busy proposing to her? Do you even know why she left you and went abroad, Ethan?" Haha. Ultimately, I sent no reply. No one knows how long I wept, curled up in that small bathroom. When I awoke, I found myself in a hospital. Grace had found me unconscious with a high fever and urgently called an ambulance. I regained consciousness the following day. The doctor cautioned me to take care, as medication was inadvisable. I was pregnant. Instinctively, I touched my abdomen upon hearing this news. Ethan once mused about whether our child would resemble me or him more, eagerly planning our entire future when we first united. Sweet memories now rendered absurd and bitterly ironic. Due to poor nutrition and sleep over the past 2 days, the doctor warned that my frail condition jeopardized the pregnancy. Unable to bear it, Grace called Ethan, saying, "Hello? Ethan, Rain, she." Samantha's rapid coughing interrupted from the other end. "Ethan, it seems your nanny called," I accidentally answered. "If there's an issue at home, you should go back." "What are you saying? Your matter is the priority." "Hello, Grace, handle things at home yourself," Ethan replied before hanging up. Grace's old model phone transmitted the conversation clearly, even without speakerphone. Grace regarded me with embarrassment. I reassured her, "It's fine, Grace, go back, I need some quiet." Unable to dissuade me, she sighed and departed. En route to my drip, I spotted Ethan escorting Samantha to the inquiry desk, asking for the obstetrics and gynecology department's floor. Ethan tenderly placed his hand over Samantha's, which rested on her belly. In that moment, the world spun, yet I followed them stubbornly until his joyful laughter echoed through the department. Overwhelmed by heartache, I fainted once more. Upon waking, I was back in a cold hospital room, fur still attached, with only Grace by my side. "Grace, he and Samantha have a child. What of mine? What will become of my child?" Stunned, Grace gazed at me with sympathy, her eyes brimming with sorrow, though words of comfort felt hollow and inadequate. "Grace, have I done something wrong? Silly girl, how could this be your fault?" Unable to contain her compassion, Grace shed tears, masking her guilt as she wiped them away. "It's not my fault," I murmured repeatedly, my chaotic mind finally settling. "Indeed, it wasn't my fault. Why should I bear this suffering?" I had intended a quiet exit, but Ethan and Samantha had pushed me too far. A fierce unwillingness and resentment flooded my chest. Before departing, I resolved not to let this deplorable pair live comfortably, instructing Grace, "Assist me with a few tasks." On the second day of the countdown, I resolved to exact revenge, purging the villa of all traces of myself. Employing all my savings, I engaged a legal team to meticulously dissect the evidence of Ethan and Yvonne's conspiracy to bankrupt the Chi family, substantiating charges of malicious competition and framing. Handing it to the police brought an unexpected calm to my heart. Returning alone to the hotel, Ethan called. I hung up and powered off my phone, scoffing, "No rush, tomorrow, I'll appear at your proposal with a grand gift." With 18 hours until departure, I visited the Liu family estate, encountering Ethan's mother, who demanded, "What are you doing here?" Ethan's mother harbored a strong dislike for Rain, never acknowledging her. Prior to the Chi family's bankruptcy, she deemed Rain worthy of her son. Now, not even fit to polish his shoes. "I have a gift for you, Auntie," I said, displaying on my phone a cozy image of Anthony with his mistress and child. Camille, Ethan's mother, turned livid, exclaiming, "What's your intent deliberately humiliating me with this?" I chuckled lightly. "You misunderstand, Auntie Camille. I can provide this woman's address and records of Uncle Anthony's covert asset transfers over the years, but I have a condition, a trivial effort for you." Not easily swayed, Ethan's mother countered, "Can't I investigate myself? Isn't it commonplace for men to have affairs?" At this, I laughed derisively. "I clearly underestimated your magnanimity, Auntie Camille. You'd even accept Uncle Anthony's illegitimate child?" Investigate if you wish, but I assure you, you'll find nothing because. Deliberately piquing her curiosity, I rose, casting her a pitying glance, because your precious son has already settled the accounts, covering for his father. What? She exclaimed, leaping up in shock, heedless of bumping the table's edge. Exactly as you heard, this financial ledger in my possession is the sole evidence. I forgot to mention Ethan once took me to her home, remarking how well the mistress cooks. For an elite matriarch, an absent husband and a disloyal son threatened her precarious status. Having delivered this potent revelation, I turned and left without a backward glance. I silently counted to 3, 2. Before reaching 1, Ethan's mother seized me. Success. What exactly do you want? She demanded, with a satisfied smirk. I replied, nothing much, just a chat log and a transfer record. With 12 hours until departure, I made a new observation. From the hotel window where Ethan would propose today, I viewed the lawn adorned with romantic bouquets, balloons, and lights, featuring a large poster of Ethan and Samantha in an intimate pose. So, you don't dislike photos, just taking them with me, nor are you allergic to lilies, for they're Samantha's favorite. I laughed bitterly. In the quiet room, each second in this world felt torturous. As I sank into sorrow, a heated argument erupted outside the door. If you don't divorce that old hag, I'll accept Ethan's proposal tomorrow with this child in my womb, then he'll call you not father, but grandfather. My eyes snapped open, such a bombshell. I activated my phone's recorder, pressing it to the door to capture the desired exchange, and through the peephole, I saw an unexpected figure, Anthony. I verified repeatedly in disbelief. Indeed, it was Anthony, Ethan's father. Samantha's child was his? How sensational. Why, then, would Anthony permit Ethan and Samantha's relationship? I had no inclination to unravel their sordid triangle. Days of scheming had exhausted me mentally and physically. Setting an alarm, I retreated to bed, and with 6 hours until departure, Grace urged me to leave no regrets. Grace brought me stewed soup, saying, "Rain, drink this while it's hot. I've also prepared some noodles to warm your stomach." Gazing at her gratefully, I slid a bank card from my bag toward her. "After today, you may no longer work for the Liu family. I'm sorry for burdening you. Please take this." Grace returned the card, patting my shoulder earnestly. "Rain, you'll raise a child alone, with many expenses ahead. I can't accept this." I merely helped pack, hardly significant. Eating the warming noodles and hearing her heartfelt words, tears streamed down uncontrollably. Sighing again, Grace tidied the room while consoling me. "I hope your future days will be smoother." My tears fell harder. She said, "Stop crying, do what you must, so you leave without regrets." Nodding vigorously, I choked out, "Grace, thank you for 2 years of care. Take care yourself." Then Grace left. With 2 hours until departure, my revenge commenced. Reviewing every step, I descended and entered the control room, saying, "Hello, I'm Ethan's friend. He values this proposal greatly, and I need to play a commemorative video soon. May I use the computer briefly?" The person scrutinized me, hesitating. When my phone rang, displaying Ethan, I showed it to him as the call connected. Ethan's anxious voice emerged, "Where are you? Why didn't you answer?" Learning I'd removed my belongings from the villa left him hollow, an unprecedented panic keeping him awake, though he stubbornly believed he loved Samantha, reveling in her need for him. "I'm here, my phone died earlier." "That's all for now," I said, cutting off his plea. "Rain, you, come back." I hung up, ignored his further calls, and silenced my phone. "This is Ethan's call. Want to verify my claim?" I offered. After fiddling with his phone, the person soon dispelled his doubts. "Fine, I'll yield the room during the cake cutting," he agreed. "Thank you," I replied, as the venue filled with Ethan's shallow friends, signaling the birthday banquet start. Samantha emerged, surrounded like a luminary. Ethan embraced her, thoughtfully swapping cocktails for juice, shielding her from Toast's small gestures that sparked waves of cheers. I recalled a past banquet where, despite knowing my gastroenteritis flare-up, Ethan urged me to accept a business partner's toast, so, love and indifference are this stark. I shut the control room door. My moment had arrived. As everyone sang for Samantha, the screen began playing voice messages of her extorting money from Ethan's mother years ago. "Give me 10 million, and I'll leave the country immediately, never contacting your son again," Samantha's voice rang out, arrogant and smug. "Why not just rob me?" Ethan's mother choked with rage. "Think carefully. Ethan loves me. I say east, he won't go west. Persist against me, and he'll resent you more, never returning home." This leverage cornered Ethan's mother. 5 million, I can transfer now. 8 million. Then a glaring 8 million transfer record flashed on screen. Samantha's face paled. She clutched Ethan, pleading, "No, this isn't real. Listen to me, Ethan, it's surely doctored." Onlookers buzzed about Samantha's abrupt departure abroad years prior. "This voice, these Facebook chats can't be faked. It's Aunt Camille's account, with the transfer record too. Wasn't it Rain who drove Samantha away back then?" "Yes, that's what I heard. How else did rain rise?" "I never imagined Samantha was like this." It took Ethan moments to regain his voice. Priding himself on deep affection, he regretted their past unfulfilled romance, rushing to reconcile with her upon her return. "So, you left me for money?" Samantha shook her head frantically, tears streaming, knowing her vulnerability often softened Ethan. Ethan instinctively reached to wipe her tears, but as his hand extended, another explosive recording played. "If you don't divorce that hag, I'll accept Ethan's proposal tomorrow with this child. Then he'll call you grandfather, not father. You know Ethan's mother is mad, holding Luke Corporation shares. I must trick her into transferring them before divorcing." "Really? You're my darling. Would I lie?" Samantha and Antony's corridor spat from last night. Had Antony not cautiously pulled Samantha inside, I could have struck harder. From the surveillance, I watched the venue erupt in chaos as planned. Ethan's disgusted, fly-swallowing expression delighted me. He slapped Samantha hard, eyes blazing with fury. "Wretch, daring to toy with me." Panicked, Samantha groveled, begging, "Ethan, it's not true. Someone's framing me. Believe me, I love you." "Love me? Taking my mom's 8 million to ditch me abroad? Do you love me or money, huh?" Ethan struck her again fiercely. The control room door banged loudly. With an hour until departure, it was my cue. "What are you doing?" "You'll ruin me," the operator accused angrily. "Fear not, Ethan's too preoccupied to bother you." 30 minutes earlier, I'd sent last night's recording to Ethan's mother, informing her of today's proposal to Samantha, complete with the location. They were baffled, reluctant to let me, the instigator, slip away easily. Someone had to take the fall. I was indifferent. Clap, clap, clap. What a spectacle! A father's father remains a father. Quite the game. My words drew snickers from Ethan's shallow friends. Seeing me, panic flickered in Ethan's eyes. How are you here?" Expressionless, I spoke evenly. "Didn't you say you were busy with company matters these 2 days? So, this is for Miss Samantha's birthday." Approaching the cake, I plucked a ring from red roses. "No, a proposal quite lovely. Samantha, you've long accused me of being the third party between you and Ethan, pinning that blame on me for years, yet after squandering the money, you reeled Ethan back in. You're the true mistress, between Antony and Ethan's mother, and between Ethan and me." My voice rose, each word deliberate for all to hear. Then I flung the ring at Samantha, stripping her facade, venting years of unjust blame. Whispers resumed. Samantha's shameless, preying on young and old for the Liu family fortune. Indeed, poor Rain, misunderstood all these years. Ethan's a scumbag too, deserves to be betrayed. Haha, father and son cuckolding each other. What a rare twist. Even Samantha's usual supporters now deemed her disgraceful. Ethan bellowed, "Shut up, all of you. Assistant Dong, investigate who leaked this now." Samantha, rising from the floor, pointed furiously, "I see today's all you're doing. You just want to keep Ethan, but he doesn't love you. The unloved one's the mistress." Arriving just then, Ethan's mother heard this, flew into a rage, seized Samantha's hair, and tore at her. Vile woman, so brazen as a mistress. I should have exposed your greedy vanity to Ethan long ago. He wouldn't have been deceived and ruined by you. Ethan's probing gaze fixed on me. Did you orchestrate all this today? Unrestrained, I wagged a finger. This? No, there's more. His look turned alien. You took your things, ignored my calls, all for revenge, right? What's ruining me gain you? I forced a smile. Ruin you? I can avenge the Chi family and my unborn child. Did you think of my baby when you took her to obstetrics? Ethan trembled, eyes stinging. You know? He recalled Grace's call while he accompanied a coughing Samantha to the hospital, so Rain was there too. His pupils dilated, voice tentative and choked. We have a child? I raised my head proudly, a tear slipping down. He's nothing to you. When Grace called, you were with Samantha. After my father's funeral, you left me at the cemetery for her too. Forgotten that? Think this child wants a cold, heartless father like you? The crowd sighed audibly. Ethan staggered back, my sharp words draining his face of color, fingers whitening with regret in his eyes. Hearing this, Ethan's mother struck Samantha harder. Fine, you wretch, you cost me my grandson. Today, you'll pay with your life. I observed Ethan's expression with satisfaction, yet felt no joy. With 15 minutes until departure, authorities arrived. Ethan, we're from the Economic Investigation Division. We suspect you of malicious competition, market disruption, and framing. Please come with us. Wrestling with Samantha, Ethan's mother rushed to shield him. What's this? My son's a law-abiding citizen, paying hefty taxes. On what grounds do you arrest him? The police responded sternly. Do not obstruct justice. Yvonne has confessed Ethan conspired with her to depress Chi Corporation's stock, harming shareholders, and causing severe societal impact. We have irrefutable evidence. Take him. No, don't release my son, she cried. Ethan stood dazed, glancing at me. Rain, The words I'm sorry lodged, unspeakable. Learning of the events, Anthony rushed in, shouting, Who dares touch my son? For your accusations, Ethan has a lawyer to handle everything. Deal with him. Anthony arrived with a lawyer I recognized, a notorious figure adept at exonerating the elite, winning cases through minor loopholes if paid enough. If he took the case, the Chi family's downfall might pin all blame on Yvonne, with Ethan lightly extricated by this lawyer's tactics. With 10 minutes left, an unforeseen shift occurred. I hadn't anticipated Anthony's swift arrival. His mediation might spare Ethan hardship or even acquit him. As I pondered a move, a voice shattered the scene. Anthony, don't gloat, you're in jeopardy too. Grace's voice rang out. I gaped at her, beside Anthony's other mistress, the woman Ethan called stepmother. Grace looked at me remorsefully. Sorry, Rain, I used you. I sent that package deliberately, hoping you'd unveil the Liu family's dark secrets. Anthony ruined my Zhao family too. This is my ill-fated daughter Denise, forced to alias as Cora, lingering by Anthony's side for revenge without status. We've bided our time 3 years, amassing evidence to jail him for life. He shorted Zhao stocks, driving my husband to suicide, then hired thugs to cripple my son penniless. He died in a dank rental. I hate them, I'd kill every Liu. Grace's thunderous words stunned all. Criminal police promptly summoned allied units to assist the investigation. I stared at Anthony and Ethan in disbelief. What a Liu father and son, truly inheriting the trade. Ethan shook his head. No, I didn't know my father's deeds, nor did I obliterate the Chi family. Had it not fallen, you'd never have noticed me. Only by absorbing it to bolster the Liu family could I catch your eye. Haha, ridiculous, like you've long pined for me? Don't cloak your ambition and pride in this, it sickens me. I suppressed pregnancy nausea, utterly repulsed. Ethan groaned in anguish, bitterness flooding his mouth, voice hoarse. No, I noticed you in college, but you never regarded me, so I turned to Samantha. Samantha collapsed at this. No, you liked me first. Why her? She's just your rebound solace. Ethan slapped her backhand. No, Rain's my true love. He should have realized why else, after Samantha's return, did he refuse to let Rain go, even contemplating confinement to keep her? With 5 minutes left, I tired of their verbal sparring, leaning wearily against a table as exhaustion surged. Only Grace noticed my distress. Rain, are you okay? I waved her off. Anthony snapped too, pointing at Cora, Jeff's daughter? And Martin? Cora laughed wildly, sowing seeds everywhere. You've no count of your bastards. I merely claimed a posthumous child from a woman you abandoned beaten to miscarriage by you and Ethan's mother. Police, I report Anthony for murder for hire, assault, stock manipulation, and market disruption. I have solid proof. The venue erupted. With 3 minutes left, the Liu family farce neared its end. I couldn't hold on, vomiting violently. Grace fretted. Rain, you're too weak. This child. Grace! I cut off her near slip. Ethan overheard, lunging forward, eyes alight. Rain, our child's still there, right? His mother joined, beaming. Rain, dear, Mom will care for you. Shameless indeed. My child has no tie to your Liu family. Grace shoved Ethan's mother away. Get lost. Ethan charged again, but Grace, joined by fed-up onlookers including the control room operator, blocked him. I gazed at them gratefully as my mental timer ticked. All was ending. With 2 minutes left, Ethan seemed deranged. Rain, Rain. Ethan pushed through the crowd, eyes red and wild, his strength uncanny. 5 men and 2 officers couldn't restrain him. With 1 minute left, Ethan seized me. I didn't resist. His grip like iron on my arm, he gazed tenderly. Rain, let's have the child, start anew, live well together, okay? I smiled, offering a dignified farewell. Ethan, your chance is gone, we'll never meet again in life or death. My body began to fade. Grace, no guilt thank you. Last 10 seconds, Ethan, engulfed by grief and panic, roared like a beast. No, Rain, you can't leave me. Rain. Ethan clutched me tightly, calling my name repeatedly, begging me to stay. 3, 2, 1. Ethan spat blood, staining my forehead. Goodbye, this world. 3 days later, at West Suburbs Cemetery, Grace and Cora, clad in black, laid flowers at Rain's tombstone. Rain, I don't know where you've gone, but I'm sure you'll fare better. The Liu family's been judged. Anthony got 12 years, Ethan, 5. The once glorious Liu Corporation has been devoured by others. Samantha miscarried after Ethan's mother's beating. Multiple prior abortions abroad thinned her uterine wall. She'll likely bear no more. Ethan lost his mind before prison, incessantly calling your name. Doctors cited extreme shock. He's in an asylum now. His life there, all his schemed wealth, power, and you, lost. We're leaving here to say goodbye. A breeze stirred the grave's flowers. I understand.